What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review a compilation album by Linkin Park. Basically, this project is called Songs from the Underground. This is an EP project here, and it came out in the fall of 2008. So the stuff about this particular project is just the fact that this stuff on this particular album has songs compiled from some of their hit Linkin Park Underground projects that you get as far as being a part of their fan club that used to be from back in the day. That's a pretty dope fan club to kind of have within that pitch. It's not like when you think of fan club, when you think of like just getting like beanie hats or just like something for like more kid-centric type stuff. The actual Linkin Park fan club is pretty insidious and wicked type thing to kind of get just within the tone behind it, because you look after it every year between at least 2001 to about 2015, 2016, somewhere in there, something like that. They put out like special little bonus treats called like Linkin Park Undergrounds that had a lot of songs. Now, originally I wasn't going to review those as much because I thought they were just demos and maybe like songs that didn't have as much full blown, but just judging by this particular product and just some of the songs I've listened to in the past, I'm probably going to wind up reviewing a lot of these Linkin Park Undergrounds as the time progresses as far as pitches like that can happen. Just getting a hold of them, just questioning if they're available for download and pitches like that or some of that type of fare. I want to say that you could probably purchase them off of eBay and Amazon, some of those type fares, just depending upon the priciness of it, but some excellent type fare. The very first Linkin Park Underground was the Hybrid Theory EP, which is actually a pretty rare item. I reviewed that back in 2023. And that was pretty excellent type pitch. That is like a virtual classic album from what I remember of it. It's been a while since I listened to it. I did not purchase it because it is a relatively pricey product on CD, but I might have to put this within the pitch of some wicked stuff. So yeah, this is compiled of some of the stuff from Hybrid Theory EP, a couple songs off that one. Linkin Park Underground 2.0 has a song on here. Linkin Park Underground 4.0 and 6.0, plus a couple live songs. So some excellent type pitches kind of get here just within the tone. This is a bona fide type package, easy enough to kind of see a classic, and it's kind of refreshing in these particular times as Linkin Park had kind of been ghost for like a good while just within those particular type fares. I do realize that the band has a new lead vocalist and the Emily Armstrong chick that dropped an album with them back in November 2024. I'm going to have to get to that at some point down the road, but I want to get to some more of these Linkin Park projects. Now, I'm not going to review every last Linkin Park Underground in the mixtape or the fan club format before I get to their 2024 album, but it is going to be a pitch that's just not going to happen right immediately, because there is some stuff that Linkin Park dropped in 2023, like they dropped the Meteora 20th anniversary, which had some new stuff, over 10 new songs on their pitches like that, and there was like something else they dropped, like a greatest hits album. So I'm going to get to some of those, but the Linkin Park 2024 is eventually going to happen. But yeah, like I was saying, this is a classic album here. It doesn't have a single, but basically out of the 8 songs on this particular EP here, I wound up recommending all 8, so it is going to get a 10 out of 10 just within those pitches. Just classic type fare, just in the viciousness of it. These are some real Harada type ones. They picked some excellent songs to kind of pull from like their Linkin Park Underground type projects. Definitely had me hyped for some of those type fares. Would probably have to thoroughly recommend for folks that know everything of Linkin Park from like the Chester Bennington days, from Hybrid Theory all the way to One More Light from 2017. I would definitely say that there's some extra type stuff in there just to be able to get like the true Linkin Park collection and the true experience with them as far as those pitch can happen with just getting those particular ones. So I will start to cover some of that. But yeah, to talk about these 8 ones here, basically a real vicious type song on here. Now, this is a song I was going to get to. I want to say that this particular song, My December, is on Linkin Park Underground 2.0 or something like that. I forget which particular project My December is from, but that was an original song that they dropped for like a Christmas album, which was a pretty good pitch because that was around the time when they did Hybrid Theory. Real haunting type one. It's like a vintage kind of morose ballad here, I would definitely have to say. Definitely some morose ballad malaise from like Linkin Park, definitely to get. Chester Bennington really knocks this song out of the park. Just a great secret song, I'd have to say here. It's unfortunate that it is the live edition, but the actual live edition is pretty excellent just to be able to get. So it's not as slag to kind of say that it's the live edition, but it's just a concept that, just me wanting like the studio edition, but that's probably on Linkin Park Underground 2.0 or one of those type ones. But the live edition is pretty wicked. Just the crowd enhances the song. The song definitely feels album quality just within the pitch behind it, despite the fact that it was never on like an actual Linkin Park official album back in their original days, and this is a pretty red hot type one to kind of get here. So there are some haunting ones. My December is one of those. Very similar to In the End, just not quite as like within a Radio Snap type format. Just feels like a secret song by them, kind of like Bully by Eminem or one of those type pitches that I had to say. Just a real secret type bop to kind of get within that fare for extra lore of like Linkin Park. Good type gem to kind of get within that pitch. But once again, I would have to recommend tracking down the Linkin Park Underground that has the studio quality of it, because it's definitely worth the investment. And then Dedicated is another nice one. This is another haunting one that's just like My December and the song In the End. It's like a nice, morose, and kind of moody Linkin Park. pretty similar in hauntingness to In the End, like I was saying, a similar type pitch, I suppose. Now, Chester's not on this song as much, but it is a good type fare on here, and this is more neighborhood Johns to kind of get within this particular song. So it's just kind of concept. I like the pitch behind this particular album just because the songs that they pick kind of are like some city hop type ones, just some neighborhood type fare, just gas station runs, some of that typeness, just picking up some Taco Bell, getting some corn nuts, burritos, some of those type pitches just within the fare behind it. It's standard errand running and pitches like that. Just kind of the concept of just being out and about in like the summer or autumn as far as those pitches kind of have with it. Just some good type fare. And obviously My December, Dedicated, some of those type ones are more autumn and winter. But I just look within the tone, there are some decent kind of bops on here just for like local kind of on foot travelers as far as those pitches kind of happen with it. Dedicated is one of those. There are also some good instrumental type songs on here. Sold My Soul to Yo Mama is a nice one for that. It's like a low key kind of city hop local fare to kind of get within that pitch. Just some good city pep for like some new metal. I would definitely feel like just kind of the pitch of just in between type moments. Just once again, Aaron running some of that type fare, just paying local bills, some of that type pitch, maybe paying a nearby cell phone bill, some of that type fare. Just grab a beer and toke up just within those tones behind it. Some simple kind of simmering weather type fare just to appreciate like the outdoors pitches like that, at least the local kind of neighborhood, just residential type fare within the pitch behind it. Just more suburban within the pitch, but I definitely like the tone behind it. Real nice one. Announcement Service Public is another quality one as well. Definitely like the tone behind this. This doesn't have much vocals on here apart from Chester at the end of the song, I'd have to say, but it's a nice pitch. It's like an in-between kind of work shift unwind to kind of get here. There's some concepts for that. It's that relative kind of malaise about it, I'd have suppose. Just some 4 o'clock, 5:30 p.m. type malaise about it. Just a great, simple kind of ruminate and sip a beer type song to kind of get in particular as far as that pitch kind of goes along with it. Just some good type fare. Just in a new metal sense, definitely works for like some great unwind as far as those pitches will kind of happen. Just the tone of just like relative long day, I'd say in particular. Maybe not so much like an asshole of a Monday, but maybe just like a toil of a Tuesday, something like that. Maybe it was like pissed you off in like a 6.5 out of 10 territory to some pitch like that. We're just glad to be done. Not so much furious like 9, 10 out of 10, if you know what I mean, like a Monday or something like that, or just a day where you'd be real kind of burnt out pitches like that, but just 6.5, 5 out of 10 in terms of relative relief of being done. Some pitches like that, just appreciate like a good beer and something like that. Just kick back, flip on the news, some of that type fare. Just ruminate a bit. Hunger Strike is an almost song. So I forgot to say within this pitch, I recommend every song on here, but there is an almost song within this pitch. I do like this particular song, Hunger Strike, but it's just kind of within the pitch of how oftenly I would listen to this one. This is like a dredgy kind of vintage 90s grunge to kind of get on like a leftover rainy day. I would feel like it's kind of the tone. Pearl Jam was pretty good at these particular songs, so was Stone Temple Pilots. That's definitely what I was going to say, is it reminds me of Stone Temple Pilots, Pearl Jam, some of those type folks. I want to say, now I don't know if Chris Cornell was a vocalist for Stone Temple Pilots, but I want to say like something like, I want to say both those cats are deceased as far as those pitches kind of happen just within the tone. The vocals for both those bands, I know Chris Cornell is, but just the cat behind Stone Temple Pilots might be as well, but it's just within the pitch and just that rainy, it just feels like a rainy type day and like the mid-afternoon summer type fare just within the pitch. It's a real sunny type song, but then just kind of wet out and rainy within the pitch. It's kind of a relatively haphazard kind of beleaguered type day within the pitch. Just a little bit solemn, but just kind of within the concept of like a bittersweet type tone behind it. Just typical of like Pearl Jam off of like their 10 album from 1991. Some of those type pitches, I'd have to say, good type fare for that. Chester Bennington shows up on this song, particularly adds to it, but it's just within the concept, and you just question the ofteness of what I would go for that particular pitch behind it. I just question, it's just kind of a different blending of those sounds going from Pearl Jam to Linkin Park, but it's a good song. I do like the instrumentation, overall production fare of that particular song. It's just kind of the pitch of just the ofteness, but good type song. QWERTY is a real nice one. This is studio quality, so it's a real excellent type pitch. Kind of get this one in particular. It's like a heavy hitting kind of vintage new metal taste kind of have here. Just classic Linkin Park, I would definitely have to say. Gets things crazy pretty quickly. I'd feel like about this song. It's just an overall exciting one. So this is like a vintage type one. This is like classic kind of Mike Shinoda, and it's like a classic kind of Mike Shinoda and Chester Bennington kind of team up like their Hybrid Theory and Meteora, type days that had to say in particular. This vintage type pitch, just standard kind of vintage new metal that you remember from them for like their earliest type hits, and just the overall just stock type appeal that they have within that sense behind it. So it's a good aspect to kind of get some of those type ones. I believe that QWERTY is one that was found on Linkin Park 6.0, the underground from that particular one. And the concept about it is the actual song QWERTY wound up being on, like, I want to say either like the Linkin Park Greatest Hits from 2023 or the Meteora 20th Anniversary from 2023. One of those two projects that particular song was on, because it was just such a popular song and such a good studio quality song. It was kind of just like a demo, and I don't know if it was a demo, but it was just kind of a leftover song or an unused type song, but it just was that good within the pitch of just being able to say it just felt like a song that just needed to be album quality. So this is the first place it showed up. I probably won't be as surprised by it when I review it on like those 2023 albums. So I just would say it is an excellent type song and a classic type one to kind of get within that sense. Good vanilla Linkin Park, and then the song "And One." So the song, there's some songs I haven't talked about here. Both these songs are from the Hybrid Theory EP that I don't remember as much. It's been almost 2 years since I particularly listened to it back when I reviewed it in those days, but I do recommend those songs probably like I did back in 2023. So I'm just going to say "And One" is basically like further kind of gnarled Linkin Park. I'd have to say here, it just reminds me of One Step Closer, definitely about this one. Just a great Kickstarter, and just Night Venue Boiler to kind of get here, just overall dope song. And Part of Me is a vicious one as well. It's like some quality riffed up kind of evening comedy to kind of get off this particular pitch. Just some neighborhood finish, Aaron's up type tones kind of have within this one. It's just get ready for a venue type fare, I feel like, about this. Now the song Part of Me from the Hybrid Theory EP is a little bit more paced, a little bit more bustled and in motion. I'd have to say just the last minute concepts of just getting those errands done like I was saying. But And One's a little bit more of like a vicious type one, a little bit more house party type fare. Great for like some night venue boiling heat as far as those pitches can happen like I was saying. So some good type fare for that. So this is good type pitch. So yeah, this EP album gets like a 10 out of 10. Definitely like all these secret songs. In some senses, this might be the only way to really get a hold of these for like a relatively cheap prices, because I question like the pricing, especially nowadays with like the Linkin Park fan club not being as like promoted as much. I mean, I think it is probably still technically around, but I don't know if they do as many things, or if they give out like, if you're able to order, if you join the club, if you're able to order like treats and goodies from back in those days in like their back catalog or something like that. Be a pretty good pitch if you could, but it just seems like these 16 underground LPs that they did throughout the years in the 2000s just may not be as commonly available. So that probably means that they're relatively pricey. So I'd say it's a good type fare to get at least a handful of some of these, which is some excellent type pitches. Has some good stuff on here. QWERTY's a nice one. That you do get a couple songs from Hybrid Theory EP. The live songs are pretty good. Some good pitches like that. Dedicated's a real dope song, and the instrumental songs like "Sold My Soul to Yo Mama" and "Announcement Service Public" are some nice ones. So it's just some excellent type fare. So 10 out of 10. Social Score is going to get a 10 out of 10 as well. Now I look after just within the pitch behind it. I would say that this doesn't have a single just within the pitch, but I feel like Linkin Park was so massively popular at this particular point in 2008. At the particular point in 2008, they had several multi-platinum albums. I want to say Hybrid Theory was almost diamond, Meteora was like 7 times platinum, and Minutes to Midnight was like a multi-platinum album as well. So it was a good pitch. They were on a pretty good string of hits as far as those pitch can happen. They definitely have some moments. They have their haunting songs like In the End that work pretty well. They have some good tear the club up type songs, just pitches like that. They have like some good instrumental type songs for like some reprieve and pitches like that. And they have some dredge on here and some of that type fare just within the pitch being able to have it. So it's a good amalgamation, like the standard life of things between about 3:30 p.m. to about 10:30 or midnight. Some pitches like that, just kind of in between like the late day shift to about the midnight shift as far as the pitch can happen, just in between. But because this is just an 8-song EP, you only get like a handful of songs for each variation. But some good type fare to have some of these just as a collective side. It's just a better type fare to just highly recommend going after like those Linkin Park underground type projects that I'd say in particular. But this is some excellent type treats to kind of get within that tone. So 10 out of 10 social. In terms of the future, like I was saying, Linkin Park dropped an album with the new band member Emily Armstrong in November 2024. As far as this pitch can happen, I do question like the reception of that project was going to happen there, and just the continued future of Linkin Park. Some excellent type fare to kind of wonder. I would like to think, I get the feeling it's probably pretty damn wicked, just as usual for them, like most of their projects, or virtually all of their projects that I'd say within that pitch. So some good type fare just going for that. And I just would have to say in particular, I'm going to get, there's a combination of a lot of stuff that's on the way with Linkin Park. Like I said, the two 2023 projects, the 2024 album, and then a bunch of these Linkin Park undergrounds that are going to happen. So it's some good type fare, and this is easily a highly recommendable one. Kind of a relatively secret project, but worth tracking down if you just want to get some extra type fare just within the content, just having some more of this.